Hello and welcome. Today with me is Renuka Chaudhary, the spokesperson of the Congress Party. And ma'am, before we start, I know we have been on opposite sides on the Team Anna debate. So I would just like to tell you at the outset, there is no other motive to this interview than the questions that will be asked, because I get a lot of aggression because of that. First of all, you're the party spokesperson. How difficult a job is it to be party spokesperson? Because not just the Congress, every party sometimes does stuff that is indefensible. And you're the face that has to go out and defend it. How hard is that job?
It's not so difficult as it needs to be dexterous. So you have to be very deft and dexterous in dodging some of it and facing a lot of it. A lot of it you take on the chin because that's part of the job. So, but I try to stick as much as possible to the truth. There's no rewind, replay of issues, which a lot of people tend to do as spokesmen of other parties.
Do you think it also makes the spokesperson unpopular and in some sense unelectable? I don't have a statistic to actually follow this up, but just out of the spokespersons in all the major parties right now, none of them are fielded as candidates. Do you think it's because over the years they have been used to defend things, sometimes
No, I don't see that. No. I don't think there's any correlation in that, because I have fought and won elections and
in the past?
In the past,
But
and
as spokesperson, you think that
I think it's a huge advantage having fought
It's an
an election.
advantage.
Yes, of course, because then your perspective on what is happening politically is heightened.
okay.
It's a lot more sharper because you know exactly what the political play is about.
I see.
And your interpretation of a situation or a situation that's running away or appears to run away, for that matter, even the whole Anna issue, I knew exactly what was going to happen. I mean, it sounds very this thing, but we knew exactly that the steps that they were taking was going the wrong direction. Okay. In terms of as a movement, independent of
We'll stay away
as
from
a
the Anna issue,
political.
'cause
No,
I don't
I'm
want to
just
get
telling
into
you.
that
And
zone.
so, you know.
Do you think it's a thankless job sometimes
No.
that you feel like saying that, you know what, like let's say someone has screwed up and said something or done something, like, you know, Mamta's Banerjee's statement, you know, there have been such statements in the past, you and Kapil Sibal has clashed on the feminist issue. Sometimes you feel like saying, you know what, the guy who said this, why don't you go defend yourself? Leave me out of it. I mean, does that happen?
No, not at all. Because, I mean, you're part of a team, right?
Sure.
You're a spokesman because you're part of that team.
Okay.
Each one of us has a role to play.
Okay.
So, if someone is perceived as goofed up, I think it's part of the team play that you manage that.
Okay. Now tell me, I personally think that the media is very soft on party spokespersons and even ministers. Their engagement with power. I mean, I mean, in studios they may be shouting matches, but they will never try to corner someone on substantive issues. Do you think the media is hard enough and tough enough on spokespersons and with politicians?
Yes, of course. I think they're ruthless. They have been absolutely mean, and there are times we've come to studios and the audience is stacked against us. And
But that's the audience. That's not
no, but the audience is very cleverly filtered, isn't it? It's not just some random uncle who's walking into the studio, right?
Of course it is.
And no, not at all. And their perceptions are understood. I mean, I think there's an indirect psychology which is done where they appear very friendly and chat with them, and they know exactly which side.
So you think the media is ruthless too?
I think they love pinning us down because it's huge TRP, right? So you see the ruthlessness with which we are handled, my God, and sometimes we've had the media moderating a show and telling us their opinions. We've had to answer, India wants to hear what?
Arnab.
I'm not mentioning Arnab. Okay, Arnab's
fine.
Been very balanced at many times, I have to say.
I think he's great though.
I think he's fantastic. And you see those pointed questions, those pointed barbs, and then suddenly the media honcho is reminding you of your party negatives. They bring it to the public forum.
And you have to defend it.
So it's fine. No, it's good. It's good because it hones our skills as well.
How are party spokespersons picked? Is it on the basis of, you know, charisma or screen presence, or their personal equations with reporters and journalists? I mean, how do they select who would make a good party spokesperson?
Oh my God, I wouldn't be a spokesman. I have barely any relationship with media. I don't think I'm I know anyone on a personal level.
How
I
are they
don't
picked?
think.
I mean, is
I
it
think it's pretty much, the ability to give the time someone who has a little experience, someone who knows the history of the party and who's been in the political play a lot.
but that's a lot of people. How do you narrow it down that these people represent us when
Well, we are
X
not permanent. This happens on rotation. So you see a lot of people coming and going. And a lot of it is, it's a responsibility. It's not really a reward.
And you think you have to be dexterous. Other than being dexterous, what are the other qualities
No,
that...
you've got to know your history. You've got to know politics. And you've got to know what you stand for as the country. And a lot of your conviction needs to come through.
I see.
It's not just statistics and rolling off
Right.
chat about what's happening currently.
Sure.
But it is about when you say things, your persona also comes through.
Okay.
And your prejudices or your leniencies or your leanings, all of that does show.
Do parties follow any sort of system where they are seeing that which spokesperson is being perceived a certain way by the public, and
Yes,
therefore
of
they
course.
put them, they have a system where they follow?
Of course, there is an assessment that goes on. Our chairperson Janardhan Dwivedi ji constantly checks
I see.
what's being said and what's not being said, and he guides us. It's not like he's an overriding power, but he does guide us or say that, hey, maybe.
Okay, and who, in your opinion, are very effective party spokespersons? I mean, irrespective of parties, who do you think have done their job as appearing as pacifiers or creasing out certain...
It's not just, we are not spokesmen just to pacify or
I'm saying
decrease something.
who have been effective at their jobs.
Spokesmen also have to, put issues in perspective, bring about what is not perceived in favor. So all those issues are there. It's also putting out the sense or the sensibility of what we feel. And
Who do you think is really good at this? I mean, in your eyes,
in all our parties,
who have been good spokespersons, you think?
I would say Manish Tiwari was very good. He was accurate. You're finding it funny. I mean, barring just because he on the Anna issue.
Dude, that was like...
No. I think that's very rude. You can't judge someone by one incident.
Okay, sorry.
He has the ability to put things in narrative in a correct way. I think that lady from BJP,
Nirmala
Sitharaman is very good. She does her homework and she's very well briefed and she comes across as very good. Then you have who are the others? I can't remember suddenly.
Well,
the names.
there's Manu Singhvi for the left.
Yes,
There
I
was-
think Manu Singhvi, I think his legal brain is a great advantage for him.
sure.
So he's very precise and concise and he's able to be
Prakash
very
Javadekar.
incisive when he goes
Prakash
into that.
Javadekar.
Javadekar
I often don't understand what she's saying.
No, I think
I don't often understand what Abhishek Manu Singh is saying for that matter.
but that's a lot of legalese, which a lot of
have a
you
lot of
may not
dogs.
understand.
Okay. They don't bite, no?
Don't touch him.
Okay.
He's moody. That
Okay.
fellow's okay.
Okay.
That fellow's a golden heart. But this
Yeah.
chap wants to be petted, but he doesn't like being touched on his head by others.
So this Javadekar, Prakash Javadekar.
No, I think sometimes he comes out with rapier wit and he's able to get a blade between the ribs.
I see.
But sometimes it's a political, double
slope.
speak that you have to.
You have to do. That's
He
part
had
of the
to, in a wiggle out of a situation. All of us do it, so it's not a big deal.
Okay, in your eyes, as television channels go, and even print, do you think they're the spokespeople who put your party's view out there, but top leadership, whether it is the Prime Minister, whether it is ministers, you think they are accessible enough to the media, and should they be more accessible than they are right now?
That's a very tricky question, and you really have to see it as a psychologist and as a person who studies social media. The trouble with media today is that you are driven by your own numbers, by your ratings, by your coverage, whether you're visible here or visible there.
Sure.
A lot of it is driven by that. Like, I saw rewind repeats of visuals which,
Right. Yeah, that's the stuff.
you don't need that. But whether prime ministers, now what exactly are we looking at in a prime minister? If you think that by him being accessible, by him talking every third day, is going to raise his
Not
popularity,
third day,
I
but
don't
I mean,
think
he's
so.
spoken once in
I
like
don't think
6
so.
years.
No, that's a perception whether you feel that he should
I mean,
speak
like,
more
you know, there
often.
are weekly broadcasts, I think the States has. I mean, whether you do it even on AIR, do it on DD, but just a regular
No,
engagement through
I
media, because media is a tool that can be
I
used to reach out.
appreciate, but it also media is a trampoline. It can bounce back. So there are lots of times when I think, for number one, he is the prime minister and he has got gazillion things to do.
Or even
I
other
don't know
leaders,
whether
not
the
just
exposure, whether what we deem as
just to know what he's thinking about various issues, or even Sonia Gandhi or Rahul Gandhi, people who are important or are perceived to
I think
influence policy.
Rahul's all over. He's very much in your face just now.
Yeah, that's because the media
He's
decides
all
to follow him. But
over
like
the media, he's available, he's
India,
accessible.
although the media wasn't as robust as it is today, in Jawaharlal Nehru's time, they knew what his view on everything was. He'd write. He was a prolific writer. You knew his thoughts on industry were this. His thoughts on dam were this. You knew what. Today, the media doesn't have access, or probably they don't even try when they have access. I mean, the people of the country don't know what Rahul thinks on probably 100 issues, and what he thinks on one. Maybe on one particular farmer, these things that happen in UP. But you know, just a general engagement where you know what each, not just Rahul, I mean others too, in other parties, what they are thinking on various issues. And I think that engagement is altogether missing completely. Is it because the media
Do you
doesn't?
think it's missing only from the Congress? Or
No,
do
that's
you
what I'm
think
saying,
it's
across the parties. That's what I'm saying. Even when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was PM, that one bite that made huge thing in Manali when he gave that one interview, which was actually nothing interview, but everyone was running it, and one Z guy got it. Just the fact that one irrelevant statement becomes exclusive breaking news, to me, proves that there's just not enough engagement.
No, I don't know if engagement or excess engagement is actually good.
Even a minimum.
You know, I think they're pretty minimum, and their concept and perceptions come through maybe not on a national media level,
you being
but
a
they do
spokesperson
speak.
again?
No, I'm being myself because I've been minister and I know exactly. We speak on forums, we speak on which should be reported.
Sure.
But the media doesn't want to report that. You want exclusive interviews for your own reportage, for your own ratings to say that we got the breaking news. Now that's where the problem lies, because the Prime Minister is pretty visible, so is Mrs. Gandhi. They are visible on different forums. It need not be necessarily on television per se on a one-to-one interview business. But they are very visible because their perceptions, their talks, the cabinet meetings, policy change, these are discussed. You can't imagine that they're all sitting there in silence and saying a prayer while the rest of it is going on.
Sure,
Work goes on. Work goes on. And so their opinions are very, very available. They are visible. People do see them and hear them. Reporting, unfortunately, has changed. If you ask me, the kind of reporting that we're doing today is pretty much a tamasha. You know, it is. There's a lot of band bajawing.
Which is your favorite tamasha?
No, it's not my item. Some of it is. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, your challenge is your remote control. So who's the audience you're looking at as media? You're looking at that person who's managing the remote control. If you're not interesting enough, they're going to switch the channel. Now, I don't think the Prime Minister should worry about that.
No, but I'm not saying he has to. He's not worrying about that. What I'm saying
he
is the
shouldn't
engagement.
worry about whether he's engaging enough to keep that.
No, I'm not talking about TRPs. He doesn't have to be on X channel or Y channel. I'm talking just purely.
I don't know. That's a double-edged sword. I would say it's a double-edged sword. Having experienced both of it at a very chota level like mine.
So politicians like to play it safe.
Not
isn't
so
there
much
a
safe,
purpose to it?
no.
I mean, double-edged, so I don't understand. Double-edged how? I mean,
you know, there is
what's
a thing
wrong
where
with-
you're very in your face and you're visible and you're available and you're accessible and
you don't have accessible all the time, but just a minimum amount of engagement.
What
where,
is minimum? Who defines that?
Well, once in 6 years is definitely pretty pathetic.
It's not once in 6 years. He's been there.
That's really pathetic.
No, that's not. Once in 6 years, just.
And
just
even his
because-
tweets are so boring. It's like, I mean, you're not getting anything. It's-
hello, Prime Minister's not entertainment, so it doesn't matter if you think he's boring. But
Okay.
it's not about what you think. It's about what international relations, our neighbors, our internal issues. It's what impacts on those.
Okay,
So,
I'm going to ask you a few quick questions without taking much time. When you wake up in the morning, which is the first newspaper you read?
Oh God, I've got a stack, so it depends on which one is on the top.
Oh, so you read all of them?
I read all of them.
I
I
see.
write from Economic Times to Statesman, Pioneer, Indian Express, Times of India, Hindustan Times.
Okay.
We get all of those. They come in a big stack and mail today.
Okay.
And so whichever is kept, then I go through them
I see.
regularly.
Okay, and now we play a little game called Guess the Spokesperson.
Oh, Jesus.
Now, who talks like this? The malafide of the person may or may not have been known, and therefore an inquiry may or may not be committed, and therefore, depending on when we will do this, the Prime Minister may or may not. Who talks like that?
Oh, maybe that's a legal brain.
That's Abhishek Manu Singhvi.
Well, I don't know.
And so he kind of confuses you with a sentence that never ends. Your tactic is somewhat different.
What is mine?
Because I have been.
You should tell me. My dog protests.
Oh my God. You won't bite me, right? I think what yours is anything that's thrown at you will just, like, for example, Abhishek Manu Singhvi will scuttle it by going into this long sentence and which will never end. So by the end of it, you're like, it's over, the issue's over. Yours is, you won't even address the issue. You'll say, you are very smart, you know everything, we know nothing, why don't you run the country? Bang, you can't come up with a response to that.
Well,
It's
good,
like-
I have done my job.
What is that? So is that a thought out tactic?
No, not really.
You know, 'cause
I
honestly,
think
your
I'm
responses
a lot
are-
more spontaneous. I think
You're
I
like,
am.
hello, that's really silly, that I don't agree with that. Please, these people are just making noise. And it's just...
So what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? When an absurd, asinine remark is being made and
It
a
happens all
deeply
the time.
prejudiced statement is being made, do you want me to actually address that issue and answer it? I mean, if it is so bizarre, why would I even answer it? So you just have to point it out for what it is. It's all...
But it happens way too often.
I know that's okay. Way too often, a lot of what you're reporting or saying is also quite absurd. It's quite absurd.
Okay,
Some of it
before
is
we
bizarre.
finish, I will touch
It
on
is
the...
bizarre because I mean I've seen wild accusations made at the government where we know that it's not right. Maybe the perceptions are different, but to make an accusation has to be substantiated. And when you're not in a position, the man who's making the accusation is just randomly doing it, and you are at a time where you have only that much time to give it back. I can't go into history and remind you the goalposts of everything. So what do? You rubbish it for what it is. That is rubbish. That's how I see it.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.